if I give money to a hobo, which I don't, but if I do, I don't expect a blowjob.
Correct. Okay. Hopefully.
Yeah, I would expect one every time. I mean, otherwise, why bother?
Wow.
Hello and welcome to Things We Talk About, a podcast where we have conversations that matter. I am your host, Randall Thomas. With me, as always, is my dear friend, Lazarus Kane. What's up, buddy?
Well, we got a couple topics to talk about tonight. I'm super stoked.
You say tonight because right now it is nighttime.
It is in fact nighttime. Yes, spoiler alert. Context clues.
So as you can tell, and as I've told you before, I'm in the process of moving.
Yes.
You can see the bags of shit behind you.
I don't think they contain that. But
no, but they actually were like where you're sitting now.
Oh, okay.
Initially.
And okay.
They've been there for days.
Oh, okay.
And then I just kind of pushed them over to the side. Because out of sight, out of mind is my philosophy when it comes to cleaning.
It's also a thing. Believe me.
What do you mean?
Like out of sight, out of mind. It was especially bad for people with certain kinds of ADHD, where you set it's like something of a minimum size, and like you just set it down, and then your brain just deletes all memory of you putting it there.
That's got to be a thing with me because I forget where I put my keys almost every day. I have a system; they always go in the same place.
Yeah.
And my wallet goes there too. But if I do my wallet somewhere, like if I go on the computer and I need my wallet, I will have no idea where my wallet is.
Yep.
And I'll freak out. And
that's what that is.
And I just happen to also not be the best when it comes to looking for things.
Well, I have it particularly pretty bad. So I've gotten really, really good over the years at reconstructing memories and being like, okay, when was the last time that I had it? I'm like, okay, and like when did I realize they didn't have it? And I start building backwards. And usually I'm pretty good at figuring out where.
Okay, well, you've seen me with my car and doing that. A number of times.
Yeah, you're not good at that.
No, but I am good at relying on other people to help me.
Yes.
In my times of
yes.
need.
The good news is that it's a skill though, that you can train up.
Yeah, but like you said, you had to work towards.
Well, yes, it's because I lost very many things over the course of like 3 decades.
Oh yeah, man. We're cleaning this place out because we're moving. I've already found things like that I haven't seen in at least 8 years.
Oh,
wow. That's where that went. It's like there's like a picture of us from when like we first had our kid. Like I had like the goatee that was cool in 2006. Or
yeah.
It's like it's awful.
All those years ago.
Yeah, well, that's not actually. Maybe that wasn't. Anyways, regardless,
it wasn't cool then either.
No, it wasn't. But that was a thing once upon a time.
Sure, it was.
Yeah. Well, anyways, we're in the process of moving. And moving is one of the worst experiences a straight white man in his early 30s can face.
Oh, is it?
Other than divorce and sometimes death.
Well, both of those things cause moving, so.
Yes. Yes, for a straight white man, yes.
Yes.
I'll be the one moving. Well, I have a policy because I also don't like to help other people move. So I make sure that I don't ask people to help me. Mm-hmm. But I let everybody I know that I'm close with, hey, I'm moving. And I tell them, and it's about 50-50. 50% of people will be like, oh, I'll help you.
Yeah.
I'll help you carry the stuff.
Because in doing so indebts you, requires you to help me when I move, inevitably.
In a sense, yes. I mean, I don't hold that over people. Like, I've helped a lot of people move, and I don't expect them to help me.
Foolish.
Yeah, but, it's the nice thing to do.
Yeah.
But like, I don't ask people because I also feel like that's not very nice to like pressure people into doing it when they don't want to do it.
Okay.
But honestly, the lifting isn't an issue because I am, as you said earlier in the
stout.
conversation, I'm stout.
Yes.
I'm relatively strong, so I'm not concerned about lifting things, but it's the packing shit.
The problem with packages?
No, not packages. Just shit. Like, I have shit all over my house. And every corner and every nook and cranny of my house, there's just shit. And
clutter, I think is the word.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's fine. So I've got clutter in this side of the room. I've got clutter over there. I've got clutter over there. I've got clutter there. I've got clutter there. That entire thing is like unread mail from at least 6 months ago.
So that is also a symptom of ADHD. Also, it's called nesting. Just having piles of clutter everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah. With ADHD, the piles of clutter, supposedly, the current thought is that it mimics the sort of like conceptual way that the ADHD brain stores information.
Okay.
Instead of having things like like in an ordered file sort of thing, it keeps things in conceptual groups.
Okay.
And so it's like this but it's also very like chaotic.
Yeah, most of the clutter's not mine anyways. I mean, to be honest. Some of it is for sure, but like, I don't know if you've seen, like, on top of the refrigerator, I've got a chocolate fountain.
Yeah,
In a box that I've never opened, and I don't even know why we have it, and I don't know why it's there, but it's unopened chocolate
Because
fountain.
you might want to chocolate fountain. You don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember how it ended up on top of my refrigerator, but it's been there for years. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the many things. It's like, and if people really wanted to help me, they wouldn't help me carry stuff because I can do that shit. Mm-hmm. I can do it with like myself and one other person. It's the packing. If you want to help me, Randallites, my friends, listen to me. Come to my house and put my shit in boxes, please.
Okay.
Help me pack my shit. Mm-hmm. I need as many guys here as possible to help me pack my shit. As many guys as I can fit into my house, taking turns packing my shit.
Yes, you can fit in. Yes, yes.
But I don't know anybody that's willing to be selfless enough to do that.
Okay.
Because selflessness...
There's the ham.
Selflessness is a trait that I find to be rare, if it exists at all, among people. What would you call a trait like that?
Oh, I would call it, I don't know, altruism?
It's pronounced altruism?
Altruism.
I thought it was altruism. Like if you were to look at me and say, "You are handsome, and I wish to feel your beard upon my buttocks." Everything you said is all true. So that's an altruism.
No, it's not. That's that's not. No, I don't think it matters either way. But altruism, like altruistic, So
I do.
So anyway. But yeah, no. So it's altruism.
Okay.
And that is typically defined as someone assisting someone else. It doesn't actually even have to be two humans. Could be any animals. But helping someone else selflessly without without immediate gratification. Basically.
Okay, so like if someone asks me to help them move, then I don't ask for anything back.
Yes.
Sweet.
It's not that you don't even... You expect nothing back.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's not the same thing.
What do you mean?
Like to not ask for anything back means you didn't ask them to repay the favor, but to not expect anything back means that there is no social debt. There is no strings attached. There is no nothing, right? Because you can not ask for it, but also feel like it was implied.
Well, last recording session, you brought me French fries.
I did.
Now, did you expect me to buy you French fries?
I did not.
Okay, so that was altruistic.
It was, as were the jalapeno potato chips I brought you today.
Yes, thank you. That were left over from your lunch.
Well, technically, yes. Yes, they were.
Well, thank you for those. They were tasty.
You're welcome.
So that's what altruism is doing something nice for somebody and not expecting something in return.
Correct. The only gain you could potentially get out of it is the warm and fuzzy feeling you get from that.
To some people, they in turn like that feeling.
Sure.
Now, does that negate it from being altruism?
No.
Because if your motive is I want to feel good about myself.
So like again, like this is that is a point of debate in this whole thing.
Sure.
But for me, I would say no because it's an inherent part of it. So like altruism actually comes up in evolutionary biology.
Okay.
Believe it or not, which is one of the reasons I say that, like, yes, it does exist. We know that it exists. But specifically, it comes up in two ways. In evolutionary biology, it's actually this one. Altruism is a term that means refers to traits that are disadvantageous to the individual, but are advantageous to the group.
Okay, so what if I'm part of the group, though?
Right.
Because then you got to look at it like in a social way. Like I could sacrifice my own personal belongings, but if it's better for the group, that could further my own interests as well.
Right, but in evolutionary biology, the idea is that you may possess traits that make you easier to kill, that make it more likely for you, or make it less likely for you to pass on your genes, which doesn't make any sense at all. Survival of the fittest and stuff like that.
Right.
These traits make you less likely to pass on your genes, but they make it more likely that someone in your flock or herd or tribe or whatever will.
Okay.
So, like, for example, there are the fainting goats. You aware of these things?
I'm not.
So they're scapegoats, actually. And basically, they're these goats where if you spook them, their body locks up.
And they
they paralyze. Yeah, they get paralyzed and they fall over just because they tensed up, and instead of being able to catch themselves after jumping because they were scared, they're paralyzed.
Crazy.
Yeah. And so this is a thing that has been bred up, you know what I mean, to be more and more dominant, but it existed before that, right? It existed before humans got involved and like made it a much more common trait.
Sure.
But the idea is that if a farmer is absent, or whatever, like, because it arose naturally. So, like, you have a herd of wild goats.
Okay.
And
Are they a herd or is it a flock?
We'll say flock, because goats don't necessarily have the same term as sheep.
Which is a flock of sheep.
Flock of sheep.
Yes.
Yeah, but I don't know about goats.
A gaggle.
That
gaggle
would
of
be
goats.
geese. That would be geese.
But they both start with a G.
So anyway, so the idea is a wolf shows up or a predator, they get spooked. The herd bolts for it, and this guy is paralyzed.
Oh.
And so the wolf eats the scapegoat.
And then everyone else gets away.
And everyone else gets away,
What a
which
hero.
means, yeah, a dead hero, a martyr.
Still a hero. He
yes,
sacrificed
absolutely.
himself for his
One
tribe.
might call it altruistic.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what they're called. There are, I think that's an extreme example that isn't covered in the stuff that I've read. But generally, a lot of people, a lot of philosophers and stuff like that, philosophers of biology are against evolutionary altruism.
Why are they against it? Because it's a
well,
biological sacrifice that your body
correct,
does, and
correct.
it's not a choice. Is that what the argument is?
Correct. So like setting aside the scapegoats, there's like if wolves show up and try and attack a bunch of buffalo, they'll do what's called wagon training, where the females and the young will concentrate in the middle, and all of the males will form a ring facing outward at the wolves, which puts the males at more vulnerability. It makes them vulnerable to the wolves.
Oh.
Right. And so that is considered evolutionary altruism for them to have developed this behavior, because behavior it ties into evolution as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There was a study done on that topic of I think it was like a group of chickens or hens that were taken as eggs and raised in captivity, like away from everything, and they flew like a drone over it and nothing happened. You know, they flew a bunch of things over top of it, and but as soon as they put like a hawk over it, even though they'd never seen one before, they freak out. Yeah. So yeah, same thing. Right.
And so the paper that I read on this actually doesn't really have much to do with biology. It's called Let's Razor Occam's Razor.
Okay.
By Elliot Sober.
Yes.
It's pretty interesting. But basically, in it, he talks about this concept called parsimony. And what parsimony is it is a preference for the simplest explanation. And Occam's razor is the simplest explanation is usually the correct one.
Yeah. You and I have talked about this before.
Yeah. However, the difference between Occam's razor and parsimony is that Occam's razor is the simplest answer, period. Parsimony is the simplest answer that fits.
Which would make more sense.
Correct.
Okay, now that
Which is
came
why it
after
has
Occam's razor, right?
Yeah. I'm no. Well, parsimony is like a philosophical thing. So like, it's like I would assume that the ancient Greeks had, their version. Like Plato had their version.
Because I've heard of
parsimony.
Occam's razor before numerous times.
Yeah.
It's
It's just because parsimony is a technical term.
Okay.
It's a philosophical term.
Okay.
And so what Sober argues about is he says, for as far as evolutionary altruism is concerned, he's like, well, no, with buffalo, because he's responding to a specific paper that uses buffalo as a main argument point. And so he says that, well, what if it has to do with the way predators and prey interact, right? So the idea is you pretty much have two options.
Okay.
Fight or flight. And the idea is that if a prey animal is equal or smaller size, it runs. But if the prey animal is larger than the predator, they stay and fight.
Right.
Which is a good rule. It checks out. It is reasonable to say these things. And so what if the females and the young are below the line, but the males are above the line?
Okay.
And so really this wagon training that we're seeing is the result of a complex system that runs on these predator-prey dynamics.
Okay.
And this may have turned into a behavior that is evolved, but it still largely functions off of... It's not altruism. They're not doing it because it's better. You know what I mean? They're not...
even if it is through biology, it's still a sacrifice.
Right. It's not... So essentially the idea is that he's saying that this idea that a creature will evolve disadvantageous traits in order to benefit the group does not jive with our understanding of evolution, because evolution is about the individual, period, all day long, every day.
Okay.
And you can't have like this arising like, yes, certain traits will be more advantageous to the group, but if those traits aren't passed on, then it doesn't matter, right? Mm-hmm. So anyway, so yeah, all of that whole thing about, we sort of like straightened it to evolution, but yeah, it's a singular creature thing. So parsimony, what he's saying is that yes, the simplest explanation is that they evolved these traits because they're advantageous to the group. Okay. But unfortunately, if we're going to call it evolutionary behavior,
it doesn't coincide with what is evolution.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Because evolution is about your individual ability to survive and pass on those surviving traits to the next lineage.
Exactly. And so yeah, that's the idea, is that that's parsimony. That's okay. Your philosophical bit for the day.
I don't know if is that considered philosophy, or is that, I think that was more so just biology. Like if you look at something.
So we can do a whole episode on this, and I would love to. But basically the idea is that everything you know, every subject you've ever learned, every concept that you've ever encountered began with one kind of philosophy or another.
Okay.
Mathematics arises from philosophy. Biology arises from philosophy.
Now that I don't understand.
Sure. Math
arises from philosophy?
It does. So do we think differently about mathematics today than we did in the 1600s?
I would hope so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what changed?
Okay.
Philosophy. Okay.
Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah. And so and also the smoking gun that I love to pull out, because I have some friends with doctorates or whatever, and they're usually like scientists or engineers. They're like, no, philosophy's like timey-wimey stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like bullshit.
Yeah.
Right.
I was like, okay, you're a doctor, right? All right, so you got a PhD. So what's that PH stand for? Like, what does PhD stand for? It's for doctorate in philosophy. And so the idea is ostensibly when you get a doctorate, what you've started to do is instead of like doing this sort of like field research or whatever that you do in your master's degree, you start to actually look at the subject itself and see if you can start to innovate the way we think about it. Okay. Right. And so we, in the, one of the last episodes, I don't know if it was the opiates episode, but we talked about paradigm shifts.
Yes.
And how we used to think biology functioned a certain way.
Right.
The phlogiston theory. Yes. Right. And so that was a paradigm, but that was a philosophical paradigm, right? That was what we were based on. And then it changed because people started publishing philosophy of biology papers, that eventually trickled down.
Sure. So how we viewed mathematics in the 1600s, there's a paradigm shift. Many of them.
There was quite few, yeah.
Yeah, many of them, and so to get to the point where we are now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so any paper that you're going to publish that is purely theoretical or something like that, it could be easily argued that it's a philosophy paper. It may not be published in a philosophy journal.
So even like theoretical mathematics is still philosophy
mathematics?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because if it's not empirically testable, then all we're doing is we're sitting around shooting the shit and like trying to figure stuff out, right?
Okay.
And while certainly it occurs at a different level and it's a bit more complex, it's very, not that different from you and a bunch of your friends sitting around at a table, knocking back a couple and trying to understand the secrets of the universe.
Okay.
Right.
Which, why even bother if not for philosophy?
Exactly. It's all like, yeah. It's
Okay.
all like trying to get to the heart of things.
Yeah, all science is driven by the question of why.
Exactly.
Or at least how.
Yeah.
And those are, I think that's the debate though, is like, what's the difference between how and why?
Well, yeah, the thing about philosophy is it can ask you questions like, what is why? And what is how? Like, are we even approaching these things correctly? Right?
Right.
We used, there was a time when we thought atoms were the smallest building block there was, until someone was like, maybe not.
I can go smaller.
Yeah. and then math happened and stuff like that. But any paradigm shift almost always begins with a philosophy paper because that's going to be people like just like throwing stuff out and be like, hey, I had this great idea. Here's how it relates to everything else.
And a lot of that goes to, I guess, how the person defines what is philosophy.
Sure.
Because to a lot of people, they hear it and they think it's, like you said, the timey-wimey
kind
of sort of
just
thing.
Sort of
but
like,
it's a broader stroke than that.
Oh,
is what you're saying.
It is yeah.
Okay.
So like philosophy. So there's a subject in philosophy called ontology.
Okay.
And it is a specific branch of philosophy that deals with truth. So ontology, effectively, in the way it's used, means the study of truth. So like the goal of ontology is to understand what we can call true.
Altruism.
There you go.
Okay.
Ontology attempts to understand all truisms.
Okay.
Right? And what that is and what is true and stuff like that. And so at the end of the day, though, for my money, all philosophy is really just trying to get at the truth. It's just some like ontology is like really close to the metal. Like it's really like when people are high and they say like, but is anyone really ever anywhere? Or something like that.
Yeah.
That just like you're just like shut up. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, except some people write like 20-page papers on that exact subject.
Sure.
So.
Right. I get it. It is just timey-wimey. Like.
Yeah, everything's timey-wimey because everything's experiential. Right.
Oh my God.
Did I just blow your brain out?
No. It's just I've heard this before. Usually from people that are high.
Okay.
That say like.
No, but that's the thing though.
Mm-hmm.
Like reality is subjective. Period.
Okay.
I'd say like so you've heard like possession is 9/10 of the law.
I guess.
The other 10th is the actual law.
Okay.
Right. If you have something in your possession, right, then it is yours, except where the law says it is not. Okay. And so until the law gets physically involved, it's yours.
Okay.
Right? Does that make sense? Like, in a general, like, humans getting along with other humans. Not technical. There's no traps here. Like, that's what I'm talking about. So what I say is related, and it's reality is 9/10 perception. The other 10th is physics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
I can get behind that.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, if I had cilantro
Yes.
as an example. I love cilantro. Mm-hmm. I have a friend that thinks it tastes like soap.
10% of the population thinks it tastes like soap.
Yep.
It's a genetic thing.
It's weird, right?
Yeah.
But that is perception.
Correct.
So to me, it's delicious.
But his reality says
Right.
it tastes like soap.
Yep.
Exactly. That comes into play with like cultural things, like we think this color is good and that culture thinks. So for example, in the West, we think that we associate the color black with death, and things like that.
Sure.
In the East, in Japan specifically, they associate it with white.
White is death.
White is death.
Okay.
Because white is the snow and it is the pale pallor of, a corpse and stuff like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
For Japanese people, yes, white would be the color of the
No, it is
And
it is
E.T.
paper white, and it's been that way long before they knew the white man existed.
Okay.
So for example, so in the West, 13 is unlucky. We have buildings that don't have 13th floors.
Didn't that come from the Friday the 13th movie? Isn't that when that started?
No. The superstition about Friday the 13th existed long before the movie.
Okay.
But no, that's a thing. There are buildings from like the 20s that don't have 13th floors.
But they literally have 13 floors.
Well, yes, but they have 16 floors, but the one that is the 13th floor is labeled the 14th floor.
So they're lying.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
Great. Awesome.
But it allows us to live in a reality where this building doesn't have a 13th floor.
But it does have
and
a 13th
therefore,
floor.
Well, right. But
that's not
it allows
reality.
you to live in
That's
this
a lie.
reality.
It's a lie. It's not reality. Reality is
we can get into a lot of things that are lies that we treat like reality, like money. But in Japan, 4 is unlucky.
4 is unlucky.
It is extremely unlucky.
Okay.
And this has to do, so there are 2 different ways to say 4. And one of them is essentially the same word as death.
Do you know the reason behind that?
No, it just is.
Okay.
I don't think there is a reason. It's just the way the language sort of fell out, right?
Interesting.
Yeah. And then 8 as well, has the same has 8 is essentially the word for 4. It's a she, with this like a suffix.
How are they so good at math if they have the same letter, same pronunciation of 2 different numbers?
No, it's 8 is 4 with a suffix on it. It's shichi.
Okay.
But you can also say yon, or I think it's yonchi. Anyway, the point is that 4, and so heart attacks will spike on the 4th of every month.
Because everyone panics.
Because everyone's like, death. And there's no reason for that. There's absolutely no reason for that other than subjective reality.
Okay.
Right? Same thing.
Or people just being stupid and superstitious.
I mean, whatever. We're saying the same thing. Like, if you...
So superstition is subjective reality?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
These are subjective facts that you have treated as real. Unfortunately for you, because you are a frail human nature, all facts are subjective to you. Because
like there's a table in front of us.
Yeah.
Subjective.
Yeah. Oh, listen, we sit down, we have some real philosophical talks. We talk about brain in a jar, and stuff like that. Anyway, like the Matrix, right?
Okay.
Like, for example, there's nothing there's no way the Matrix is built off of this old hat philosophical thing called brain in a jar. And the idea is, for all you know, a reasonably advanced species has taken a brain and put it in a jar and hooked it up, right? And everything you perceive, because it's all electricity, is,
I wish the listeners could see my face right now, because this is complete horseshit.
I mean, whatever.
I mean, it is. And you can shrug if you want. It's horseshit.
No, but you can say it's horseshit.
That's why people say, like Like, that's why they say it's timey-wimey and bullshit.
Sure.
Because this is a bullshit argument.
But the thing is that you can say that.
Yeah.
In philosophy, you just also have to explain it. You can't just be like, this is horseshit.
Yeah, because there's a table in front of me. You can't argue otherwise. There is absolutely 100% a table in front of you and me.
Have you never been hit by like an optical illusion, or like where you couldn't find something for the life of you, but it was sitting in plain view?
Well, I usually blame that on myself when I can't find something.
On your what? On your what?
My memory.
Oh no, but I mean, I'm talking like this thing was sitting like right, like on the table,
Okay,
in front of you, but you didn't see it. You just didn't see it until like later, until hours later, and it was there the whole time.
Okay, so I was wrong.
Right,
but it was there the whole time.
Your reality was that thing was not there.
I was just wrong. Like, it's
correct.
It's not reality.
But that's
wrong.
No, that's what subjective means.
So it's just wrong reality.
No, subjective means that you can be wrong. It's objective.
But I'm not wrong about the fucking table in front of me, dude.
Okay.
You say okay, but I'm not. Like, I am not wrong about there being a table in front of me.
No, and you would like very much to prove to me that you are not wrong. But the very fact that you feel that you have to prove to me that you're not wrong suggests that you could be.
That's a stupid argument. the fact that you're arguing with me proves the fact that I'm right.
Well,
that's a really bad argument.
I've tried to set this subject down a few times already, and like, okay.
With what? What have you shut down?
Nothing. No, just set it down. Just like, no, you are 110% convinced that there is a table in front of you.
Yeah, so are you.
And there is nothing that I can say.
Are you saying that there is no table in front of us?
No, I'm just saying that there is a possibility that there
fucking
isn't.
Philosophy. Let's take a break.
Hey listeners, let me tell you about how to help us help you become more informed and more entertained.
Yeah, so go to our Patreon page and take a look at what we have to offer. We appreciate you joining our conversation and in the process helping us get better equipment, better content, and provide you with even more content.
Not only that, but Patreon has a tiered system of rewards that lets us give back to those who give more. We've got a ton of things planned as rewards, from unscripted before and after recordings of spontaneous conversations to conversations that try and get Randy to actually read something for a change, with interesting and hilarious consequences if he doesn't, to Randall's Rants, where I try to see just how easy it is for Randy to fly off the handle for basically no reason.
Here's a hint, it's pretty fucking easy. Remember, by becoming a patron, you are directly assisting in the growth and ability for us to move us one step closer to providing more and better content, and soon enough, do it full time.
Aw, yeah. So, to learn more, go to patreon.com/TWTAPATREON. That's patreon.com/TWTAPatreon to learn more about our goals and what we've got to offer.
Thanks for spelling it out for us, buddy.
Welcome back.
Aw, said at the same time.
There we go.
We even try to do that.
So altruism. Let's ham-fist our way back to that. There's some interesting things on it. And I came across a concept called social discounting, actually. And I actually had to go read, I was reading an 8-page paper, and I had to go read a 4-page paper to be able to understand the words in this 8-page paper.
So what is that?
So context, backing up, because the term social discounting comes from another thing. That's temporal discounting.
Temporal discounting.
Temporal discounting.
Okay.
Right. And so temporal meaning time. And like temporal, like spatial.
Okay.
Temporal.
I only know the temporal lobe on your brain.
No, that's temporal.
Okay.
Yeah. Which I wonder if that's the one that has to do with sensitivity. I don't know. So the idea is, time is to space. Time is to temporal as space is to spatial.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so temporal discounting comes up in economics, where the idea is that when talking about delayed gratification, the further out you get away from it, the more you discount whatever you're delaying. That you essentially, like, one of the examples you could use is that you have a bunch of kids, right?
Yes.
And you're like, okay, we got candy bars, right? And
Okay.
so you can have one candy bar in 6 days or 2 candy bars in 7 days.
Okay.
Okay. Generally, the answer is going to be 7 days. They're going to wait 7 days.
Yes.
Right. But as those dates get closer, they discount them less and less. And when day 6 comes along, they are most likely to opt for the candy bar that day
Interesting.
instead of the 2 tomorrow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
And actually, there's all sorts of like.
There's a lot of studies done on that, I'm sure.
Yeah. Not really like in the wild, as they say. But like laboratory studies. And,
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. But they even have like equations for it. Philosophy papers with equations, man. What are you gonna do?
What am I gonna do?
I get it.
Nothing.
I get it, but oh man. Anyway, so that's temporal discounting.
Okay. Sure.
And social discounting initially had a bunch of implications, and one of them is that like people, I'm not sure if this is also temporal discounting. Like I said, I just really just came across these two concepts like recently. But basically the idea is that we treat our future selves like a separate person.
Mm-hmm.
And so, which is why, actually, no, that's temporal discounting. That's what that is. So temporal discounting, the idea is that we treat our future selves like a separate person. So when it becomes that 6th day,
yeah,
we would rather have that candy bar today than give the 2 candy bars to this other person.
Well, yeah, no shit. Like, I would rather have anything for myself. Than
Right.
give anybody anything else.
Even though that the other person's actually just you tomorrow.
Okay, so you're just fucking yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Screw you, future self. I want a candy bar now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so social discounting sort of riffs off that and says that the further you get away from you socially,
Okay.
usually it's defined as 1 to 100, 1 being like your bestest friend ever, or like your the blood relative you love the most,
Child or something
like that. Yeah, number 1, and then go out to 100 from there. And like 100 is just like a passing acquaintance. You may know their name, you definitely know their face. And you may know their name, but you see them around a lot.
Yeah, but they're nothing to me.
Correct.
Okay.
Like most of your friends. So yeah, 1 to 100. And the idea is that as the number 1 goes up, you are willing to give less and less.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be willing to bend over backwards for one of my close friends.
Sure.
But like, one of my neighbors came over and asked me to help. I'd come up with excuses not to help them.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. Like, a good example would be like tending to the weeds that we have in the front area here. It's like I can grab a buddy of mine that would help me, but if I went over to any of the strangers in my neighborhood and asked them to help me, they would just blow me off.
Sure. So there's actually like, again, they did all sorts of math stuff for it because it's also economics, right? It's
Sure,
relevant
yeah.
to stuff like that. But there are all sorts of charts and stuff.
Lots of fun.
Yeah. And so the actually one of the papers that I read, like they had to prove this, right? And so they had an interesting thing here where they had like a sliding scale where it had to do with, they had like $75 to you.
Okay.
And $75 to this person who is a number, like a random number on the list, right? And so then it would be like $115 and say $65 or something like that, to this person who is this random number. It's a different number.
Okay.
Right. And it goes through back and forth, and like they sort of like, toyed with the ratios and stuff like that. And what they found was that when the ratios are equal, you tend not to find that deficit in altruism, even if you push it out.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But that is assuming that the amount is like $75.
Okay.
Right. Now,
the amount increases.
Yeah. Well, the amount increases, but if the amount is equal, then you still have that sort of evening out.
Sure.
Like, what they expected, and they're not sure happened, is they thought that people might consider taking more of the money for someone who was closer to them.
Okay.
Essentially giving someone who was closer to them less and taking the more, because then they could just take half of the money that they have and give it to the person that they care about, who's like, top 10 or something like that.
Family or close friend.
And that didn't happen.
Oh.
And so they're not, they say in the paper they're not sure why that happened. They just assumed, they expected people to think this way, and apparently they did not. Right. And there is a certain point where
I'd like to know exactly what the study specifically was done to determine that.
Yeah, I can tell you. I will post a link on
the study.
On the
Okay, cool.
I have the PDF. I can put that up.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Because that's really interesting, and I would like to know exactly how they determined.
It's got a lot of big words.
Well, whatever.
I'm gonna warn you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
There should be a Google Translate for dumb people.
Yes.
They have a Google Translate for Spanish, and
that's people like me.
Yeah, or there's a paper written in using words and phrases that I've never seen and probably will never see again. Mm-hmm. And I just want to explain this to me, Google.
Well, so Fineman. Richard Fineman? Have you heard this name, Fineman?
Sounds familiar.
Okay. He works on the Manhattan Project.
Okay.
Nuclear bomb and stuff like that. Works
Sure.
alongside Einstein and Oppenheimer. And he and Fermi. Anyway, so he has the Fineman Lectures. Are one of the things he's known for.
That's what I've heard before.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and so those
Word association.
For those who don't know, the Fineman Lectures are a set of physics lectures that have been recorded, and they're in black and white. I don't remember I think they're in the early 60s, but they're recorded in black and white, and they still are today. They still to this day are used for physics instruction, because they're so good. And one of the things that Feynman said, there was a story that I believe is true. I have seen nothing that says it is not true, where Feynman was at a scientific conference in Brazil.
Okay.
And so you have, because it's Richard Feynman giving the keynote speech, you have the brightest minds in physics in Brazil, or the brightest minds period in Brazil gathered at this conference.
Speaking Spanish.
Portuguese.
Whatever. Same thing.
Sort of. Really close. Close enough that I had a teacher who was from Brazil and would occasionally put Portuguese on the board instead of Spanish.
Side note, there was a thing I learned that in the country of Brazil,
a thing you learned?
Everyone speaks Portuguese, but you have an option to choose whether you want to learn Portuguese and English or Portuguese and Spanish.
Interesting. That makes sense.
So people that speak Portuguese and Spanish usually don't speak very good English. And people that speak Portuguese and English usually don't have the best Spanish. That's what I've been told.
I mean, yeah, well, that would make sense because you have not spent time learning one language, learning that particular language.
Yeah,
right?
either way, I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Anyways,
it
so,
is.
So your teacher...
So but I had a Spanish teacher. I took Spanish in college. And so my Spanish 2 teacher was from Brazil. And so what I'm saying is that Brazilian Portuguese and Spanish are close enough that she would occasionally accidentally put Portuguese on the board.
That makes sense.
Instead of Spanish.
It's all nonsense.
It's pretty close.
Right.
But so is English. So whatever. So Feynman, what he does is he has this Brazilian physics textbook in front of him, and he just opens it to a random page, and I believe what the term that he came to, the section he came to, was talking about crystalline holography.
My God.
He reads out these 2 or 3 or however many paragraphs on this that explain what crystalline holography is. And he says that preceding this, by the way, the room is kind of like whipped up because he says there are no scientists in Brazil.
Okay, it's nice.
Period.
But he's in Brazil saying this.
No, what he says there are no Brazilian scientists.
Okay.
This American has come to Brazil and said this. And so then he does the book thing and he pulls it out and he says, and he reads these like full page, 2-page, something like that. And he says, when you break a crystal, light comes out. Boom. Done. Like that.
Gotcha.
That is what crystalline holography is the phenomena that when you break a crystal, light comes out. But you just spent 3 pages saying that thing.
Okay, so he was like the Google Translate for dumb people.
Yeah, exactly.
Of the day.
So what he's saying is that he was famous for saying, if you cannot explain it in layman terms, if you cannot explain it to a layman, to someone who is not a PhD.
Okay, so to a Randall Thomas.
To a Randall. If you cannot explain this thing to Randall Thomas, then you do not understand it. And so because Brazilian physics, Brazilian science at the time was all this all the time.
Super complicated,
yeah. like blustery and like very like aloof and stuff like that. He was like, none of you are scientists. None of you. Because if you cannot explain it to a Randall Thomas, then you do not understand it. And if this is the way Brazilian science functions, then Brazilians don't understand science.
Okay, it's a bold statement, but
yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. Well, that was the point. It was meant to shock the academia of Brazil.
It was clickbait of the 60s.
Yes, yeah. It was meant to shock them into shape. It must have. I assume it worked.
Yeah, I don't know any Brazilian scientists, so maybe it didn't.
We're still telling the story, so apparently,
we're telling the
some
story
kind
about
of
Fineman.
Yeah. So that was his thing. He was kind of a badass too.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's bold. Go in there saying that.
Yes. So that was dealing with so like dealing papers with big words and Google Translate and stuff like that. Getting back to altruism.
Yes.
So what we were talking about was social discounting, right? We'll get there. I promise. We'll get there. The funny thing is this actually really mirrors just like normal conversation with me. We're like, wait, how many tangents have we gotten on?
It's all good, man.
We'll get back. So yeah, at the end of the day, altruism's super weird. And we're not really sure how it functions. It's definitely got a biological component. I think, can't say I know.
Sure.
But I think that...
You can.
Yeah.
It's our podcast.
You would I don't know if I would be...
all true.
Correct. Yeah, I would not be all true. If I said I know. But that it's definitely the human thing. Like, it is ingrained into humans.
To give to others without getting anything back.
Correct.
Not necessarily just to be a martyr or to sacrifice yourself for your people, but to give something even to a complete stranger without expecting anything back.
Right.
Because if I give money to a hobo, which I don't, but if I do, I'd expect a blowjob.
Correct. Okay. Hopefully.
Yeah, I would expect one every time. I mean, otherwise, why bother?
Wow. Okay. Anyway. Please be better.
Okay. But I've always been under the assumption that when someone does something nice, there's a motive, and it's not just to be nice. Mm-hmm. Some people are naturally nice, and don't get me wrong, that does exist. Mm-hmm. But most people have a motive.
Sure.
Have a reason for saying something that's nice or telling somebody something nice. For example, I like to tell strangers, like when I'm in the elevator or I will walk past them, that I like something that they're wearing, or I like the way their hair's done, because I know that it makes them happy, and it makes me happy that they're happy. Right. And I like the attention that I get from it.
So, does it making you happy negate, like, the benevolence of the act?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I can see that argument.
It's a dumb argument.
It might not make it altruistic, but it still is a benevolent thing to do.
No, it's totally altruistic, because if that's your barometer, like, you have to do something that not only is completely devoid of self-interest, but right?
It's not,
is
though.
Completely selfless, and you don't even feel good when you do it, that nothing qualifies as that. That's not how humans work, right?
Right, but I think that is what the literal definition of altruism is. It's doing something without
Then
getting...
it's a useless definition.
Right. Well, I would agree, but that the argument stems from the idea that altruism means doing something without getting anything in return, including a feeling.
I think the argument, like the problem is, and like this gets back to like philosophy and talking about there's a whole there's what is truth, what is knowledge, stuff like that, and a lot of it has to do with the words that we use.
Right.
And so, if a word has a definition that is not useful, then we need to change the definition. Like
retarded.
No.
Okay.
Yes, but no. And I actually mean yes, but no. So if we are constantly using this word as a technical term, not as slang, but as a technical term, to mean something other than its, Merriam-Webster definition,
right,
then it is the dictionary definition that needs to change.
Right, like people using the word literal so long that now literal means figurative.
No, well, I mean, people should just use the word figurative.
Yeah, but they don't.
The difference... Well, no,
literal actually changed literally in the dictionary to where it means figuratively now.
You're going to have to show me a dictionary with that. But no, so like the idea is that if we use this word altruism, right, and it has this definition that is so far flung, right, from the way that we use it, then either we need to change the definition to what we actually use it for,
okay,
or we need to find another word, because...
Yeah, benevolence.
Sure.
That's what I was saying.
Fine.
It's not altruistic, but it is benevolent.
Unfortunately, altruism is heavily embedded in all of our academic work
and not benevolence.
And our not benevolence,
okay,
right? Because benevolence can carry with it the idea that you are also gaining something out of it.
Yes.
Right. That's not the definition we're looking for.
Right.
We are looking for a word that means selfless and devoid of self-interest within human tolerances, right? Which is to say, you can feel good because you did this, and feeling good because you did this does not negate its altruistic nature.
According to you, but that's not what the literal definition is.
Well,
getting nothing back is the literal definition. I understand that it's
but
silly.
No, the question, no. Even if I grant you that, the question is, does feeling better count as getting something back?
Absolutely.
I would argue that it does not.
You don't think warm and fuzzies are a motivation for doing something?
No, because I think that most people don't do things because they get warm and fuzzies. Like, it is something that happens and it reinforces the behavior to do it. But I don't think that someone sees someone that's homeless or something like that and I'm going to get warm and fuzzies by going and doing X.
I don't think it's people are operating daily on that level of metacognition.
I agree with you, this is why I think it doesn't count as...
But they're still doing it for the warm and fuzzies, whether they realize it or not.
Okay. I don't think it counts as getting something, because I don't think you're better off for it.
You don't have to. I mean, you don't have to. You can change, and for your reality, you can change the entire definition of the word if you want to.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that, when we're talking about philosophy, we're talking about a shared reality.
Okay.
Our shared truth.
Okay.
And so it's like, oh, well, you could say that if you want. It's like, but no, that's not helpful either.
No, but the word literally means to get nothing in return. And warm and fuzzies is a thing. It is a thing.
It is not a thing.
Oh, come on. Now you're just arguing for just for the sake of arguing. It is a thing.
How's it feel? To be on the other end of that.
Oh yeah, arguing for the sake of arguing.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think it needs to change.
Okay, well then fine.
I
Why
agree with you.
Why are we talking? This thing that we're doing right here is called talking past each other.
What do you mean?
We're we are saying the same thing. We have agreed, but we continue to have the debate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've been talking past each other for the past couple minutes.
It's interesting, anyways.
Yeah.
I've always been under the idea that whatever motivation you have as a person to do something benevolent, even if it means getting something in return,
sure,
do it.
Yeah.
You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? Even if you need karma to believe in to do something good, if it makes you do something good, then fucking believe in karma.
Well, yeah, because the person on the other end of that act, right, doesn't care why you did it.
Yeah,
right?
usually.
Well, yeah, as long as it doesn't like cost them, like what you're getting does not come directly from them,
Right,
or
but,
even
like,
then cost them dearly.
Yeah.
Right.
Or like believing in something that does not exist as a motivation to go somewhere else and help a
Sure.
complete stranger. Believe in whatever
Absolutely.
you want to believe in if you're doing something benevolent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, would you consider that altruism? No, it's not, because even like in religion and stuff, you're doing it to gain favor from your
Yeah.
deity.
Yeah, so that would be a thing. But I think that if you live your life with the goal to, like, for lack of a better term, rack up points with the guy
Sure.
upstairs, you know what I mean? Just like live the good life
Okay.
because of salvation. The incidental things may be altruistic because it may not occur to you that's why you're doing it, but because you have decided to live your life this way, you have constructed your personality, your cognition,
Right.
such that you do these things. So I think that while yes, there may be some things that, like, I'm doing a good thing to get into heaven, like, you can't be thinking of that all the time.
No,
Like,
but it
you
becomes
will
part
still
of
be
your
doing
nature.
Good things, exactly.
You build a habit, and that habit becomes part of your personality, and
Exactly.
then you just naturally just do good things.
Yeah.
Whether you realize it's for the warm and fuzzies or
Well,
for
no, but
points.
well, at the same time though, the whole idea is that when you do something, the barometer for altruism that we've set,
Yes.
is that when you are doing something, it has to do with your intentions at the time. Intent is another huge thing in philosophy.
Yeah.
And so if you are doing something at the time and you are not intending to get something out of it, then, and he's, as we said, devoid of self-interest and stuff like that, then it's altruistic, right? Even by like our crazy far-flung definition, right? Because if that is not your intent,
You're
then
still
it is
taking
altruistic. I'm just saying. So yeah, just because you get something afterwards does not retroactively negate the altruism.
Well,
I would
I like
say.
to use the word benevolence.
Right.
Because that, to me, is doing something.
Because you can benefit from benevolence.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that, even if the benefit is unbeknownst
Well,
or unacknowledged from you, the warm and
You can
fuzzies.
deliberately, that we should say, you can deliberately benefit from benevolence,
Yes.
as opposed to accidentally benefiting from altruism.
What about somebody who does something for somebody and then posts all over Facebook? I believe they call
Certainly
it
not
virtue signaling.
altruism. Yeah. Oh yeah, virtue signaling.
Look what I just did.
Yeah.
Would that be considered altruism? Because it's warm and
No.
fuzzies. It's just a different kind of warm and fuzzy.
No, because again, intent. Like when this person did this, were they like, I'm going to do this so I have something that I can post on Facebook?
Yes, but what if the reason they're posting on Facebook is to motivate others to do the same thing? And get a little emotional high kickback from the dopamine hits.
Yeah. I think if that is legitimately why they're doing it, to lead by example, then that's like double altruism. But I don't think that's how people function.
No, you think the reason why they're doing it is for the attention they would get from it?
Yeah, exactly.
I think my cynicism is rubbing off on you.
Well, no. I mean, I'm far more realistic than pragmatic, is what I like to
Yes.
say.
Yeah.
I'm far more pragmatic than people usually think up front. But because because I understand that, like, people who do these things to lead by example don't get on a megaphone and say, look what I did. Right? They do these things and allow people to see them doing it, right? Or like they will advertise the charity events that they volunteer for, and they do these things in service of and stuff like that, because it's not about them, it's about the cause.
I've seen this thing before in volunteer circles where, like, they try to outdo each other. Like, it's pretty funny. It becomes this, like, competition of who can be the most benevolent. Have you ever seen that before? It's like a good example would be someone will donate money. Like, yeah, I'll give $10 for every mile that you walk. And someone overhears that and it's like, yeah, well, I'll give like $15.
Yeah.
But if that level of competition and spite inspires more benevolence, then have at it.
Sure. It's like dueling banjos. And he's common not common, but in the upper class, right?
Okay.
When you have money where you can do that. And the reason you're doing it, may not even be benevolent. Just because an act you commit positively affects someone else does not make it benevolent.
Yeah, but if something, outlook on life even. If you're going to do something, regardless of your intention, but it has a positive impact on other people, just do it.
Sure, absolutely. But that's, in your example, people are doing this for status.
Yeah, whatever, but people are benefiting.
Right. But like they aren't doing it because it is some benefit someone else. If it was something, if they were like bidding on diamonds or something like that, and it was a status symbol to be putting their money in this place, then they'd operate in the exact same way. It just happens to be an AIDS walk or a charity gala or whatever. And so that is neither altruistic nor benevolent. That is entirely self-interested and selfish.
Yeah, but if your self-interest can help other people...
I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you that you should not do it. I'm just saying that you don't get to call yourself benevolent or altruistic.
But you can then put your donation on Facebook and let all your friends know...
You can do whatever you want.
How awesome of a guy you are.
You know, you can do whatever you want, and you can call yourself these things. It's just like philosophically,
but
you will be wrong. Yeah.
You can say whatever you want, but you'll be wrong.
But you will be wrong. You won't even be inaccurate. You'll just be wrong.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen.
That's it? Are we good to go?
Yeah, man. We're at an hour.
That happens. Yeah, okay. Alrighty.
This has been
Things We Talk About.